What's going on, Falcon fans? It's Warakundo coming back at you with another video. So today, it's a pretty good, not a good day for our Atlanta Falcons. First of all, we actually took a L yesterday, which was really disappointing against a rookie quarterback. Made him look like all world, like all pro. Um, then we took some injuries yesterday that really, um, it just you know, a bad day for the Atlanta Falcons. On one of our heart and soul, we're going to get into Grady Jarrett, his loss, what that means for the Atlanta Falcons. We'll talk about the trade deadline, which is tomorrow. See if the Atlanta Falcons decide to make trades. They already made a trade. We'll get into that today. We'll talk about making a trade for Contavious Street, somebody that can definitely help us out, especially with Grady Jarrett going down. We'll talk about what happened in the game yesterday. Um, is this something we could just need to be concerned about? We need to look at it. And then, the last but not least, we're going to talk about, of course, something that um, a lot of people probably didn't think that could actually happen this year. That's the quarterback controversy that the Atlanta Falcons definitely is going to be in, especially the way Taylor Heineke came in and looked in the second half. Despite whatever the reason why this really didn't play, concussion protocol, whatever, the fact is that Taylor Heineke did get offense moving. Three straight scoring drives, really looked explosive. That's just what we saw. That's just the fact. Um, and now Arthur Smith has a decision to make, which I think, this decision is going to be something that can kind of, you know, figure out what it's going to be like for his coaching career here at the Atlanta Falcons. So it's going to be a big decision for him, but a decision that he's going to have to make um, either way. So that's just the way it is. So we just got to realize that sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles and a lot of these things. So um, we just have to roll with it. So, guys, with that being said, if you have not already, go ahead and please subscribe to this channel. Please hit that notification bell so you know when I drop another video. Please hit the like button so I know you guys like to hear I talk about. Then please share my video throughout the YouTube universe so more people can come in and hear me talk about. Yep, these Atlanta Falcons. So guys, we'll get right into the summer news today. Despite the Falcon loss, that is also a reason why this is not a good day. This is not a victory Monday, right? We're looking at the Falcons after 8 games last year. They're pretty much sitting at the same spot it was last year at 4-4 with a worse roster, right? So this is nothing to be too excited about. However, the Atlanta Falcons still sit in first place in the NFC South, so their destiny is still in their hands. They just need to win the games, and they will get that playoff berth that we've been looking for. This, the, this year. Hopefully, that can do that. James said, "Watch Taylor up here. Nothing special." Yeah, you can say nothing special, but um, it wasn't nothing that he did that was special. I mean, just the fact that offense moved, it really did. The ball came out of his hand faster. We'll get into that, but I disagree with you. I thought that the offense looked better. I think Desmond is getting to the point now. He's thinking about turnovers a lot. He's holding on to the ball. I think some of those sacks yesterday he took in the first half because he hold on to the ball a little bit longer than he should because he's thinking now instead of just going out and play. I thought Taylor just went out and let the ball go out his hand. He released it. That's what I seen. Um, went back and looked at it. The ball came out. It was live out his hand. That's what it was. He didn't play great. Nobody's thinking Taylor Hines is going to be the future quarterback of this team, but the way he let the ball came out, he looked confident. He didn't look like he was scared. He didn't hesitate. Desmond hold on to the ball. A couple of sacks he took because he did not get rid of the ball. It's just that simple. And I think he's starting to hesitate. And then he had another turnover yesterday. I mean, it's not his fault all the time, but you know, it's happening, right? That's the 12th turnover he don't had this season. That's the most in the NFL. So um, Arthur Smith has a decision to make, but we're definitely gonna get um, into the quarterback position here towards the end of the show. So I definitely want you guys to be listening to that. My thoughts on that. Um, but the first thing we're going to talk about, like I said, once again, talk about, um, in my opinion, probably the heart and soul of the Atlanta Falcons, guy who's been here um, the longest, along with Jake Matthews, of course. Um, but guy who had 3 sacks in the Super Bowl in 2016, had his coming out party. Pro Bowler Grady Jarrett, the heart and soul of this team, and was really playing well. Um, you know, Going into this game, numbers now about 23 tackles, or sack and a half. But Jarrett, his presence, just being able to disrupt, get quarterbacks off their spot, being able to get in the backfield, the bust up plays and things like that. That tandem with him and Dave Yada was really looking good. Our defense ranked third coming into this Tennessee Titan game. Grady Jarrett is definitely going to be missed. Um, a guy who's really been durable with his tenure since he's been with the Atlanta Falcons, has not missed a lot of games. Um, so it's really sad to see him go down. I think the team is going to rally around, we got depth. That's one thing we can't say about this Atlanta Falcon defense. They did go out and get a lot of depth um, along that defensive front. No, it's not going to be one guy that come in and takes Grady Jarrett's spot, the way he played. But by committee, these guys definitely can do that. A guy like Taquan Graham is definitely going to get a lot of more burn now. Um, Caleb London, guy that they just brought in, he's going to get more play as well. Of course, he got injured, but he was able to come back into game. This is where they could, consider bringing a guy like Calais Campbell inside. I know he came, to the Atlanta Falcons because he wanted to play more DN, but he does have the capability of playing more inside. Putting him beside Dave Amiyata could be a way they can go to get some more other guys, on the field as well. But in the end of the day, the loss of Grady Jarrett is a huge loss. It's not like it's somebody that it can easily be replaced. Like I said, his presence, his leadership, one of the captains of the team is definitely going to be missed. But powers up to Grady Jarrett. Hope he get back healthy, get back soon. We know he is because he's a workout warrior. He's going to come back stronger than ever and ready to go. Hopefully for the start next season. We'll just have to see how that recovery goes. But that's just one of the things about the NFL. Guys go down. Nobody going to feel sorry for you. Next man up mentality. I mean, like our opponents that we're going to play, this Sunday, the Minnesota Vikings, they're actually losing their starting quarterback and Kirk Cousins with a torn Achilles. Reports out now that they're trying to make a trade for Jameis Winston. Would that be interesting to see if Jameis Winston get traded to the Minnesota Vikings, and we'll be actually playing him this Sunday? So, no word on that yet, but potentially could be the case for the Minnesota Vikings, a team that is also 4-4 coming in, still in the hunt in the playoffs for themselves as well. So this is going to be a pretty good matchup, coming up. We'll get into that on Wednesday when I do my keys to victory. But like I said, injuries is part of the game. We know that. We understand that. It just, sometimes it just sucks when one of your guys go down, and it's really nothing. You have to just, next man up mentality. That's what you do. That's why you build your team, where you build it, you create depth. They created a lot of depth along the defensive line, and hopefully we'll see now how some of that depth pays off. And by committee, somebody's going to have to take the space up for Grady Jarrett. So that's what we're hoping that's going to happen. And definitely want to hear you guys comment on that. Let me know what you think about, a guy like Grady Jarrett not being here anymore, what that means for the team. Look like, they did interview a couple of guys. Everybody understands, the the brutality, the physicality of NFL football. So everybody understands injury is a part of the game. And, this is really a good guy's opportunity. A guy who wasn't getting enough playing time, like I said, like Taquan Graham, now will get that time. Lakel London just coming in, right? Albert Huggins, a guy that's going to, what's going on, Wallace? A guy like Albert Huggins definitely going to be get some opportunity. So more guys going to get opportunity to come in and show what they got, show what they're all about. And it's going to be by committee for losing a guy like Grady Jarrett. But sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles. There's nothing you can do about it. It sucks. It really does. When we seen that news come across the board, Grady Jarrett's out. Like, damn, man, already promising season, especially to, sides for where the defense played yesterday. We're definitely going to get into that. But defense was playing really good. And I know Grady was excited. It's probably one of the best defense he had ever been on. And now he's going to miss out on that. And once again, heal up for Grady Jarrett, get back strong, do the things you got to do, and get back on the field. We know you're going to be ready because you're a straight dog. So no issues with that. But next man up mentality, let's see who's going to step up. Let's see what kind of strategies and schemes that the Atlanta Falcons decide to do. Like I said, will they decide to move Calais back inside, where he played those last couple of years, for other teams like the Ravens, or do they going to keep him outside? Reason he came to Atlanta because he was allowed to play defense and a little bit more, playing inside. But, will he, agree to move back inside because it's better for the team? Because I think, putting him back inside beside David Amiyata would definitely help. I do like the way he set the edge in the run game, but put him inside and get more run for a guy like Armor Katie outside with Lorenzo Carter. Maybe that could help with the pass rush. Don't know. We'll see how they decide to strategize and scheme and get ready. Moving forward without a guy like Grady Jarrett. 330 says, very important live. What's next? I agree with you 100%, man. We're gonna get into it definitely. We'll talk about this game. We'll talk about definitely at the end. I'm going to talk about the quarterback because I think that's the biggest issue, that we really got to discuss. And this is what's so interesting about professional football, right? When you think about, when you talk about football, professional football, and this is why the quarterback get paid so much money. It's just this simple, because if you don't have a quarterback in the NFL, you're not going to win a lot of games. It's just the way it is, right? I mean, people try to cover it up and disguise it, and you can run the ball, you can do all kind of things like that, but at the end of the day, the guy who has the ball in his hands the most is that quarterback. He distributes to all the weapons you have in offense. He get everybody lined up. Usually the leader of the team gets everybody, galvanize the team. That's what the quarterback position is. That's why they get paid all the bucks. That's why they get all the scrutiny. But right now, Atlanta Falcons still trying to figure that out. Right, Art Smith has a big decision to make, and we're definitely going to get into that. But yep, what's next for our Atlanta Falcons? All right. So once again, before we get off the Grady, definitely want to hear your thoughts on Grady Jarrett. How you guys feel about the team moving forward from a defensive standpoint? Without a guy like Grady. Now, Atlanta Falcons definitely. We know the history of the Atlanta Falcons, and their roster moves and how they always turning over this roster. So it's no surprise already. Of course, we know the trade deadline is tomorrow. Hopefully, we see another trade, right? Because I think a lot of people is really looking for a pass rusher, right? We're getting today. We definitely gonna get into what happened yesterday, but Atlanta Falcons still missing a pass rusher, guys. There's no other way around it. It was evident yesterday looking at that game, but the Falcons already have made a trade today for Kentavious Street, right? Guy who's been in the NFL for 5 seasons, 3 years with the San Francisco 49ers. Last year, he was with the New Orleans Saints, which is definitely interesting because now we got a guy that has experience already with our defensive coordinator Ron Nielsen, who was in, in that scheme last year. So it's familiarity there. Who had his best season last year with the New Orleans Saints, right? So that's really interesting. Coming from the Philadelphia Eagles, the Atlanta Falcons had to give up a conditional 6th-round pick in 2024, and they got a 7th-round pick in 2025. So not giving up a whole lot to add to that depth. Losing Grady Jarrett was huge, but Atlanta Falcons already, trying to add somebody else to the roster, a guy who has familiarity with the Atlanta Falcons scheme, coming from New Orleans last year, where he had his career year, 3.5 sacks, 5 tackles for a loss. So he actually had one of his best seasons last year. Now, one thing about Kentavious Street is he haven't been getting a lot of playing time, especially in Philly. He was like the 5th or 6th man in the rotation. They got all those big, defensive linemen up at Philadelphia. So he was not getting a lot of playing time, right? So that's where they was able to make the trade, to a needed team like the Atlanta Falcons. Coming to Atlanta, he definitely will get more playing time if he could kind of duplicate the way he was able to do in New Orleans last year. This will be a win-win for our Atlanta Falcons. So that's what we're hoping to see from Kentavious Street. No, it's not a guy that's going to replace, what Grady Jarrett was able to bring to the table, but having that familiarity with Ron Nielsen right beside David Amiyata, I think this is going to be a big help for the Atlanta Falcons, right? So now he can go in with the guys that I already mentioned, like a Taquan Graham, like a Albert Huggins, right? Like a Lakel London, those guys that he can just add to that rotation that Atlanta Falcons already utilizing anyway. But a guy like Kentavious Street doesn't really have to learn the defense because he was in it last year. So this is a subtle, good signing for the Atlanta Falcons. No, doesn't move the needle to where we want it to be, but however, it's something that's going to help, especially losing Grady Jarrett for the season. So welcome to Atlanta, Kentavious. We ready to get you here. Glad you don't have to learn a whole lot of new terminology. Come in, hit the ground running. Should be fresh because you haven't got a lot of, a burn when you was in Philly because you was behind so many defensive tackles. Good thing Atlanta Falcons do a lot of rotations here, so you're going to get a lot of snaps here with the Atlanta Falcons. So hopefully you can contribute and help us fill that void that Grady left. Definitely a big void that is going to leave, but I think these guys by committee can kind of add some of that juice that we need for these Atlanta Falcons. So James said we should kick Calais inside. That's definitely could be one of the adjustments they make. I agree with you. We know, him beside David and his push that he can provide in the inside. Definitely something huge. We could get Zach Harrison more opportunities on the outside. The rookie coming from Ohio State, a guy that can definitely come out, and get more burn. Like I said, another guy like Irma Evicati, getting him out there. Maybe even getting D'Angelo Malone a little bit more burn, a little bit more run if we decide to move Calais Campbell inside. But we'll have to see what they decide to do with that adjustment, bringing in Kentavious Street as well. We said, so we picked up a defensive tackle from the team that drafted Jalen Carter. That's correct. We did. So Jalen Carter, pretty much it was one of the cornerstones of their new defense. He's actually injured right now. Him and Jordan Davis seem like their injury's not going to be long term, but still was able to bring in a guy like Kentavious Street because the depth was so huge there. He was a 1-year runner for them, just like he's going to be for us as well. But he has bounced around, but a durable guy that coming in from the Philadelphia Eagles to help with our stout defensive line, right? Despite that, we didn't get Jalen Carter. We were still third overall in defense. So it's not like we lost out. as much as looking at the Grady Jarrett injury. Yeah, people can be hindsight 2020 and be like, "Oh, we should have got Jalen Carter now because we knew." No, you didn't know Grady Jarrett was gonna get hurt. But I think Contavious Street is definitely going to help us. So let's see what happened with that. I think it's going to be huge. Just to fill that void, not huge in a way that is going to replace Grady, but a way that we can actually by committee fill that position, so the Falcons won't be as hurt as we were looking at when Grady did when we first heard about the news of Grady. So props up to the front office for moving quickly on this. Deadline is not over. We still waiting on the pass rush. It was reported that Atlanta Falcons did offer a third round pick for Montez Sweat from the Washington Commanders, right? They look. It seems like they're looking for a second round pick. It was reported today that they might not be moving on from either him or the what's the other the defense rusher there? I can't think of his name right now. Slipped my mind, but both of those guys, they might decide to keep both of their, their bookend pass rushers, which is going to be interesting because that means they have to pay both of those guys. But if the Falcons can somehow, decide to go ahead and get that second round pick, move it up that third to second, I think it'll definitely help us out a little bit more here because you got to remember we might have an extra second round pick depending if Calvin Ridley, plays well. That's an extra second round pick we'll get from the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? So it won't be our pick. We can give them the Jacksonville Jaguars pick if we able to. If Calvin Ridley lives up to what we think he's able to going to do this season, Jacksonville playing well, right? So I feel like the Atlanta Falcons should go ahead and bump that third round pick offer up to a second round pick and see can they pull Montez Sweat. They got to tomorrow deadline to see if they can pull it off. Maybe we might hear something, before the night's over, but that would be awesome. We got to be able to establish pass rush because if we don't establish pass rush, we saw yesterday what happened with that. It was just not good at all. And our vaunted third overall defense looked like the old Falcons. It really did yesterday. So wasn't proud of like what I saw from them, and I know you guys was not either. Our secondary needs to pick it up. Definitely going to talk about those guys. Davis Armada. Yep. Okay. So haven't heard any more trade rumors about anybody else that the Falcons could definitely be looking at. But we know, Terry Fontenot comes from a long. He was a pro scout when he was with the Aints, right? So he has a lot of experience going out and get veterans, getting pros out, from other teams. He's really experienced in that. So don't be surprised if you hear a name that we haven't heard about and that the Falcons might go out and decide to bring in somebody else. Right now, I don't think we do know about the third round offer to the Commanders for Sweat. My opinion, they should bump it up to second. See, can we get that guy off their hands? The selling teams. One big trade today that I was really upset about was Williams going to the Seattle Seahawks, the team we might actually have to see in the playoffs, right? That was a big Williams for a big signing for them. That trade that they got, that's the kind of move we want to see the Atlanta Falcons make. Something like that. It's interesting because considering our quarterback position right now, how all in should this Atlanta Falcon team go? That's the question, right? Because you want to go all in, but like I said, guys, if you don't have a quarterback that you think is going to be able to get you to, to where you want to go, do you want to go all in on your defense? And then you can't put points on the board and things like that. So that's going to be really interesting to see what they decide to do with this trade deadline. If they do make a big trade, like going to guy Montez Sweat, a guy they're going to have to pay, right? Because if they invest that much trade capital into him, it's a guy that they're thinking about keeping long term. So that's when you know that they believe in this team and you know that it could have a good playoff run. So we'll see what they decide to do. If not, I'm thinking my eyes that they're not 100% sure about the quarterback position, so they want to stay pat and just see how this season turns out. Um, which is unfortunate for all of us because we all had high hopes and we thought this Atlanta Falcons team, had a lot of potential, right? But like I said, man, quarterback is tough. Playing quarterback in NFL is really hard. And if anybody sit here and criticize these guys and things like that, I say you try it and see what happens. But it's tough, and but it comes with the territory. You're either good or you're bad. That's where it boils down to, and the scrutiny is going to come with it. You get all the glory when your team's winning, and you get all the criticism and everything else when you don't play well. It's just where it boils down to. So these guys got to be thick skinned, right? And don't read the media, don't go on social media and things like that because um, it's not a good thing to live off that. Back in the days, these guys didn't have to worry about that. It wasn't all the social media, right? They didn't read the newspaper, they didn't listen to the news. They pretty much was safe. Now, but everywhere you turn, you're going to hear, some negativity coming people way. Even don't matter. Like, and it's crazy, right? It's I used just get everybody I was in the United States Marine Corps. I was a recruiter out of Philadelphia, and we had this thing where you go from first to worst every month, right? So you're hero to zero. So quarterback goes out, throw for 350 yards, 4 touchdowns, right? He's a hero. The next week he comes back in and he turned the ball over 3 times, fumbles, do all this. Now he's a zero, right? You go to hero to zero just like that. That's the way you live on, especially in this day's age with social media and things like that. So that's really not like you know a good thing. That so don't live off that. These young guys, they're young, you know, they hear everything and get in your head. Got to be strong minded and be able to get past it. So um, we'll see what's up with our quarterbacks moving forward. But it's really gonna be interesting. Um, Dick Dirty said those defensive moves won't make a big splash unless we do something to shift our offensive issues. Definitely going to talk. We finna get into the to to the game just a minute, and that's what I mean about making those big moves. Because you're right, 330. If they can't figure out the quarterback and how we playing at that position, right? Um, we're not going to be able to 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 do anything if we make any moves on defense, right? So I agree with you 100%. We gotta fix that. It's just no problem, James. Thank you, man. Hey, 20 years, bro. 20 years. Let's see here. Uh, let's go ahead and get into the game breakdown. Um, so you guys notice I did not come on after the game yesterday, and doing this, I can be honest with you guys, doing this as a fan, right? I like to come on here and talk about the Falcons. I love it, but as a fan, I'm still a fan first, so I'll be pissed off, and I don't want to talk. So that's why I didn't come on here yesterday. Um, I was just too pissed off, man. I didn't want to talk about it. Um, so I had to sit back and I listen to everybody complain about everything and blame the coach for this and all this stuff. Man, if you look at the game, um, you just got to look at what really happened in the game, right? So let's break it down. So the Falcons and the Titans, right? The pretty even game across the board. The Atlanta Falcons had 342 yards, 140-yard rushing, 149 for the Titans. We knew that Derrick Henry was going to come out. That's a big man to get down. So we knew that it was going to be a big factor for us. We had 202 passing yard, which is Not what we definitely don't want to have. We gave up 6 sacks. Most of those sacks came in the first half, of course. I think we took 1 sack in the second half, so 5 of those sacks came in the first half. With young Desmond Ritter, we was 4-15 on third down. Our defense hold them for 5-15 on third down, so they was not successful on third down. But in the end, what happened yesterday is go back to my Wednesday, my keys to victory. My keys to victory on Wednesday. And my third point for our defense, right? With a young quarterback, my third point was no explosive plays. That was my third point. You got a young quarterback, right? And you want to make the young quarterback feel and have to drive down the field, right? He haven't seen all the different schemes and things like that. And we let him off the hook. 3 explosive plays is what cost us the game. 3 explosive plays, right? Now I'm gonna tell you the first one was 100% the ref blew it. That was an offensive pass interference, and things like that, man. I think they should be able to review that. That's a big play in the game. He totally grabbed AJ and threw him off of him to get that ball. That's pass interference. That should be reviewable, man. That's a bad, and that's like I said, that's points on the board. We lost by 5, and if you look at that, that was a bad play. The referees have to do better than that. I thought we got hold so many times yesterday on ref calls, man. You don't. I'm never the kind of guy that come on here and complain about the referee and how they call games, but I felt like yesterday was an instance where they really it was not good, man. It was bad refereeing. To my point, I thought they got a lot of calls that helped them in this game. Right, they did catch one offensive pass interference. It was a big play. It was definitely a pick, you know, on Hopkins, and they caught that one. But that OP, the first one that he got away with, was just that was brutal, man. That was a touchdown. You got to catch that. And the ref was right there. He was right there on the sideline. I know he saw him grab his and throw him off like that. That's just bad. But the other 2 explosive plays that we gave up, right? So this the game. And people, like I say, people want to go out and they try to pick plays out of the game where why we do this, why we do that. This is what happened in the game. We gave up 3 explosive plays. 2 our safeties got beat. Richie Grant and Jesse Bates got beat. Richie Grant got beat on a double move. Just safety. Don't let nobody get behind you. Jesse Bates got beat. It was a long developing play. I kind of blame that on our pass rush because he had all day to sit back there and throw it. However, Jesse Bates let him get over the top. Touchdown, right? The last touchdown they got was off a turnover in their red zone. That's the game. You guys can to try to figure out all the other things that happened in the game, but our defense lost that game yesterday. I'm sorry. I mean, 3 explosive plays, and that fumble in the red zone will lost us the game. Right? That because all those plays contributed to points. Now you can go over any other play that you want to in this game. All those plays contributed to points. The 3 explosive plays that we gave up, that fumble in the red zone, it was points on the board. It was our red zone. They got a touchdown in there, right? DeAndre Hopkins scored his 3rd touchdown. However, they was in field goal range to start off. So turn the ball over in the red zone, 3 explosive plays. That's what lost us the game. It's just that simple. I like to simplify things. People try to nitpick and go over this and that. Yes, the Atlanta Falcons had a chance to win, but if we don't give up 3 explosive plays, they won't win this game. Right? That's what happened. That's I simplified it a lot of more things that we definitely can talk about in the game. Like that first half, I don't know what we was doing on special teams. That was one of the worst special teams I ever seen from the Atlanta Falcons. Kept catching, and they just kept catching the ball and like at the 10 and 5 yard line. I don't know what Mike Hughes was doing. I have no idea. I do not understand what was going on with our special teams. Return game that was bad. The whole first half, the average starting drive for our offense was like at the 12 yard line, and because our special teams, I mean, I know they don't teach that. That's no team from high school to college to pro. When you within the 10 yard line, you don't catch the ball. You let it go over your head before they go in the end zone. I don't understand what Mike Hughes was doing. I know that's something they're gonna have to fix, but you can't explain that. So, our offense couldn't get started, right? Could not get started in the first half because our starting position. My only key I had for special teams on Wednesday was field position because of the defense we were playing. We know these guys. They had a bye week. They got ready for the Atlanta Falcons, right? It was gonna be hungry. They couldn't block Jeffrey Simmons yesterday, right? He wrecked the game. A lot of things like that, especially in that first half against young Desmond Ritter, right? But field position was huge. So we lost field position in the first half, right? 3 explosive plays, turnover in their red zone. That's the game. It's no more simple that people can nitpick plays. People go out and they show the play where Arthur Smith called a play for John New out the backfield. Pruitt was open. He overthrew it. Pruitt was open. Like, that's nitpicking. Like, you nitpick plays. Every play is not going to work in the NFL, right? Nobody has a perfect game that every play they call works, right? So you can nitpick every play, and that's what people do. But the bottom line, yesterday, our defense didn't play well. They gave up 3 big explosive plays, right? Our first half was atrocious from an offensive standpoint, right? Special teams was terrible in that first half. That's why we lost the game. And we got no pass rush whatsoever. No pass rush. That's why going to get a guy like Montez Sweat might help. I'm not 100% sure, but we have no pass rush. The young quarterback had too much time back there. He was comfortable the whole game. That was my second key. Don't let this young guy get comfortable and confidence. And that's what he got because we didn't put no pressure on him. And mark my word, on Thursday, when they play the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're gonna light him up. He got all this hype, right? He made Atlanta Falcons look like he's the next coming of a great quarterback. He's a rookie. And the Pittsburgh Steelers on Thursday Night Football gonna make him look like a rookie. I promise you. Atlanta Falcons just did not. TJ Watt's gonna eat him alive on Thursday. But our defense just had a bad game. That's the first bad game they had all season. That's what happened. They had the first bad game they had all season. But those 3 explosive plays, right? Turnover in their red zone, and special teams was terrible. And our offense did literally nothing in the first half. That's why the Atlanta Falcons lost. I simplified it for everybody, right? You look at the numbers. Time possession, 27 minutes for the Atlanta Falcons, 32 minutes for the Tennessee Titans. At the end of the day, 3 explosive plays, turnover in their red zone. Special team was terrible, and the offense in the first half was terrible. That's how we lost the game. I simplified it for you guys. Go back and look at the game. You can pick out plays in any game and try to say if that would have happened, that would have happened. None of that matters, man. You look at the plays that put points on the board or take points off the board. That's what you look at, right? You look at plays that put points on the boards and take points off the board. Those are plays that you can be critical of, right? But trying to nitpick certain plays out the game is no play works every time. The defense has a say too, right? You can call the perfect play and the defense will blow it up, right? That's what happens. But when you give up plays that cause points, 3 bombs, 3 bombs, right? I mean, that's what happened in the game. It's just that simple. I mean, it's not like um, Will Levis came out and just methodically drove down the field on the Atlanta Falcons, and we couldn't stop him. No, he gave up 3 explosive plays in the game. Something that we have not seen from our Atlanta Falcons, right? We have seen it in like a game here in Detroit, right? They got behind us one time. They got behind us one time, and with the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? But other than that, we haven't seen these kind of explosive plays where our safeties are getting beat deep, and that's what we saw yesterday. 3 different times. Besides for the obvious pass interference that we've seen from DeAndre Hopkins, that was just blown call. It was obvious it happened. It wasn't subtle. He literally threw him off of him and went and got the ball. That's what happened. So, but I simplified it. You guys could go in and pick out certain plays and things like that. But and when I look at the game, I just look at those 4 or 5 plays that lost us the game. 3 explosive plays, terrible special teams from a field position standpoint, and then that fumble, man, that was huge. Another fumble, man. And at some point, the teammates looking like, again, another fumble. We got to go right back out there again. Another fumble, man. That has to stop. Let's see what we got here. Man, losing to good teams with rookie quarterbacks, something ain't right. And yes, the referees just proved the game is fixed. Yep. Man, that was a bad referee. It was terrible yesterday. That wasn't the only call, right? It was a couple of flags they picked up, right? Man, that's why I didn't get on here yesterday, because I was upset, man. I was pissed, so pissed. I'm more pissed at our Falcons though than the refs, because they just played like straight trash. They played like trash, and they still had a chance to win the game. We could have made it a shootout if the offense played better. That's right. You're 100% right. That's what like I said, offense played like straight crap in the first half. It's no other way to sugarcoat it. They play like crap in the first half. All right, so let's go on and get to the big elephant in the room, and that's our quarterback situation. So, listen to Arthur Smith talk today, and be honest with you, I love the way Arthur Smith do not give you guys what you want, right? He never do, and people are so pissed off about it, because he never just come out and say what he really thinking. He always make you think, and you have to guess, and you have to figure out what he's saying. And I know it annoys a lot of people, but I'm that kind of person. I'm considered like a little hater or whatever. I love it, man. He's my type of guy. I love it. Why you gotta know? Just wait to see what happens. That's his attitude he comes off, and a lot of people hate it. I get it. But at the same time, he did mention that he would let us know who's going to be the starting quarterback, and he emphasized, this is key. He emphasized for the Minnesota game, right? He didn't say for the rest of the year. He said for the Minnesota game, right? And what makes me think it's probably going to be Taylor Heinicke for the Minnesota game, right? So for what I seen from Desmond Ridder, and I like I said, I came on here a couple of weeks ago and I said, he's a young quarterback. This is what it is. We're gonna have to deal with the mistakes, right? There's no ifs, ands, or but about it. He got to learn. He's gonna have mistakes, and he had another mistake yesterday. As simple as that. I thought 2 sacks he got in the first half because he holding on to the ball. I mean, he didn't use his athleticism. I mean, Jeffrey Simmons coming free. I know you see Jeffrey Simmons coming, and you just stand there, throw the ball away. He just took the sack, man. took us out. We had to, punt the ball on that drive. He did a couple more times, right? Not taking anything away. Caleb McGarry showed his head again yesterday. He did not block well yesterday. So I'm not taking anything away from what Caleb McGarry did. Drew Dalman, can you please snap the ball higher so the quarterbacks don't have to bend over to catch it and take their eyes off the field? Like, that's simple. 101, snap the ball higher, right? So not taking anything away from what the offensive line did, but Dez looks like he's thinking about the mistakes. Right? It looks like he's thinking about the mistakes. He's trying to make sure he don't put the ball in harm's way when he's throwing it. He's holding on it too long, and he's taking unnecessary sacks. Right? I counted one of the plays. I counted the 5 quarterback, except except Will Levis, of course. Quarterbacks don't have 5 seconds to throw the ball in NFL. You don't have 5 seconds to throw the ball in the NFL. I get, except for Will Levis. Will Levis had all day because our pass rush didn't do anything for him. But quarterbacks do not have 5 seconds to throw. I counted on 2 or 3 times. You go back and watch the game. He hold the ball for like 5 seconds and take a sack. That's on the quarterback. It's on the quarterback. Now, the receivers can't get open. Yes, maybe that's on them, but throw the ball away. Don't hold it and take a sack. Negative plays is a killer. It's a killer. Don't take negative plays. Live to play the next down. That's not what we were seeing yesterday, right? So, believe it or not, him going in for concussion protocol was really like a blessing and a curse for the Atlanta Falcons. And what I mean by that, because we would have really got blown out yesterday. Desmond Ridder would have stayed in the game. Just be honest with you, he was seeing ghosts, man. He was holding on to the ball. He just didn't have it yesterday in that first half. Going out in concussion, protocol, whatever. I think it helped the Atlanta Falcons to get Taylor Heineke in to see what it looked like. And let's just be honest, he looked better in the game. He really did. I mean, the offense started. We scored on 3 straight. We had 3 straight scoring drives, right? And the reason why, because Taylor Heineke did not hesitate, right? Taylor Heineke is a gunslinger. I'm just saying that right now. He's going to make mistakes. I promise you this, because he's going to throw that ball. But it's no hesitation. That ball was live. It was coming off his arm. It was getting out quick. And you heard the Titans player, Jeffrey Simmons, said Taylor was getting rid of the ball faster. He wasn't hesitating. He was seeing it and throwing that thing. And the offense looked more explosive, man. It really did. Right? Now, they didn't prepare for Taylor, right? That says a lot, right? They didn't scheme for with Taylor's strengths and things like that. So coming in, right off the bat and looking the way he looked, it might not look like that in the next game. But yesterday, in that second half, when Taylor Heineke came in the game, the offense looked more explosive. That's just a fact. I mean, and we keep trying to figure out why, when we got Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Jonnu Smith, Bijan Robinson, Cardell Patterson, Tyler Algier, right? Mac Hollins, Scotty Miller, Jefferson, all these guys, and we can't move the ball, right? And then yesterday, all those guys got involved in the second half. Every last one of them got involved in the second half. That's what we saw, and it looked different. It really did. It really looked different. I have no idea the decision Arthur Smith was going to make on Wednesday. I don't know what the right decision is. All right. One reason, because I don't think Taylor Heineke is the answer for our future. right? We seen enough tape with Taylor Heineke, right? He's a good backup quarterback that comes in and he's going to win games for you, right? But is he the long term answer for the Atlanta Falcons? No, I don't think so, right? Is Desmond Ridder the long term answer? I don't know, right? He only played at 12 starts. Then he finished the 12th one, right? Got out of the game, got put out, then come back in, even after he was cleared. So I have no idea, right? But I do know that this this decision, and like I said, he did emphasize just for the Minnesota game, right? So it doesn't mean if does start, right, um, on Sunday, will he start for the rest of the season? We don't know that. We have no clue. We have no idea if that's going to be the case. We're not 100% sure if he does decide to make the decision to go with Taylor Heineke. Is it permanent? Right? We don't know that yet. All right. He also mentioned, if you listen to it, you know, it, benching a young quarterback, is that a bad thing? And he said, not always, right? He referenced Drew Brees. He referenced some guys that got benched and then came back, and played better. Believe it or not, Troy Aikman got benched his first season as a quarterback, right? They was terrible. They went 1-15. Nobody had any expectations for the Dallas Cowboys that year. But he got benched, right? So go back and look at some guys. Like it's not a lot of guys that get a chance, opportunity to play. Because most time, what coaches do, they just let these guys play through it, right? If they want these guys to be the franchise of the future of the franchise, they just let them play through it and go through the growing pain. The only issue this year with the Atlanta Falcons is, first of all, it's Arthur Smith's third season, right? So the owner expect us to go to the playoff. We got the team. We put all that money into our defense side of the ball, over $160 million, right? Expectations are different for Desmond Ridder. It's not for him to figure it out and we lose games, right? The biggest problem for Desmond is just keep turning over the ball, man. It's not even the hesitation and the sacks and things. This is turnovers, right? He leads the league in turnovers. That's the issue. And if you go back to some of our losses, not yesterday loss, well, you can. I mean, that that one turnover we had yesterday put points on the board for them, right? We lost by 5. So, but if you go and look at the losses that Atlanta Falcons had this year, turnover was a big cause of that. It's just a fact, man. It's can't turn over the ball, right? So the question is, what will Arthur Smith do? What direction will he turn? My opinion, I think Heineke is a goal for Sunday, but it's gonna be up in the air after that. Right? Now, is that smart? I don't know, man. I really don't know, because at this point in time, who's to say is our future franchise quarterbacks on the roster right now? That's where we're at. That's where I think the Atlanta Falcons at. They got to make a decision. They got to decide. Um, Taylor Heineke is a backup, man. That's what he is. But the offense looked better with Taylor Heineke in the offense in the second half yesterday. And if he would have came back and won that game, I don't think it would have been a question. Um, and he's had a chance, right? Jefferson dropped the ball, whatever. That didn't lose the game. We had so many more opportunities, in the first half and in some of those drives. But at the end of the day, you know, um, I don't. I have no idea what Arthur Smith going to decide to do, and because I don't know what decision I would make, right? So I think the way you look at it, and we just talked about the trade deadline, right? If the Atlanta Falcons was to go out and they make a big trade, right? They already made a small trade, but if they go out, just say they go out and get a guy like Montez Sweat. That's telling me that the Atlanta Falcons are all in this year. And if they all in this year, I think they should go with the veteran quarterback. That's just me, right? Because you're going all in. At least you can try to get a playoff berth. You got somebody that he's not the future, right? Taylor Heinicke's not the future, but you got somebody that you're thinking is going to be able to run offense better, right? And I know we just saw a small sample what we're seeing in one half of a game, but I just feel like um, he's going to give those boys chances, man. I mean, he was throwing that rock yesterday. I just like the way it came out. He was coming out live. He was throwing that rock to him, and so if the Atlanta Falcons decide to go all in and they make a trade here by tomorrow on the trade deadline, I go with Taylor Heinicke, right? If they don't decide, they stay pat, right? We lost Grady. Um, Arthur Blank tells, you got another year. All right, let's see what Desmond has these last 9 games. Right, let's go with it. And play Desmond. All right. However, when I say this, play Desmond, we have to change our point of view about this season because it's going to be lots of growing pains. Right, we've seen it already. Right, 12 turnovers already. Um, I don't think it's going to ease up anytime soon. I think he's still learning. I think if they want him to go through the growing pains and figure it out because they think that he has potential to be the future, they should play him. Um, but I would think they should make a big deal in a trade deadline. Let's just go with the team we got, this 2023 team with so much promise that we had, and just play it out. But if they got decided to make a big deal in the trade deadline, in my opinion, they should play the veteran and see can they go in the playoff run. So, but I'm not the coach. I'm not the general manager. So that's the way I would do this thing because either one of those guys for me, right now, I'm not a. I know Taylor Heinicke is not the answer, and with Desmond Ritter, um, still the jury's still out on him. So um, I have no idea what the Atlanta Falcons decide to do. I do believe they play Taylor this Sunday. Um, Arthur Smith pretty much wanted to say that today, but he's going to give it time. Probably talk to Dez, probably talk to the team, get the game plan in, and come out and you know grow with Taylor for this week, right? And of course, he probably going to say he's not 100%, something like that. But we'll see. All right, we'll see how this pan out. Um, let's see what you guys got to say about that. I made a shootout. Yeah, you said that. Braver set Arthur Smith up when he played with his ego with the statement that he made during the week. I don't think that had anything to do with it. Arthur Smith knew, or trust me, Arthur Smith knew what kind of game this was going to be, man. And like, can't anybody tell me why we always get teams off their bye? It sucks, man. Freaking sucks, man. They got to stop doing this like that. Who are we making these schedules? It's not certain plays that I'm looking at. I've said it over the lives. Cannot continue to play the way expect to win. Our team mindset is going to be, yeah. I'm telling you, man, the mistakes is killing us. The mistakes, those special teams, um, plays blunders that we had yesterday, getting the ball in average starting position, 12-yard line. It's ridiculous, man. And it wasn't because they was, kicking, coughing corner kicks. Our player was actually catching the ball like at the 5-yard line. That was just dumb, man. Like what? Tennessee punted 8 times Sunday, so our offense had their chances. Yes, I agree. But go back and look at the starting positions in the first half. They punted. How many times they punted in the first half? Go back and look at that. Starting at 12, that's not a good starting position because you got to go 88 yards. That's hard, man. That's really hard. He said he's quicker to throwing the ball. Yes, it comes out of his hand faster, man. He's a gunslinger, man. That's what he is. He said his favorite player was Brett Favre. That should tell you all you need to know about Taylor Heinicke. His favorite player growing up was Brett Favre. That tell y'all need to know. And those guys in Washington loved him, man, because he's a fighter. He goes out and ball, right? He's going to play his heart out. He's not as talented as Desmond Ridder. He's not, but he will watch film on both quarterbacks. Yep, he's got to make a decision, man. Desmond's problem is just turnovers, man. I'm telling you, that's huge. Like you just can't throw that up on the rug, right? 12 turnovers. You cannot just sweep that up on the rug. Like, well, he's playing better everywhere else. No, he turned the ball over. That's what he's doing. That has to stop, man. And it's different. Like Arthur Smith is right. It's not the same way every time, but it still is happening. It's still happening. So, like, I don't know what to tell him. Like, if we're riding out with Ridder, I wouldn't make any big moves. Yep, that's exactly. I agree with you. This is my point. Thank you for saying that, 330. If Ridder's going to be our guy, stand pat with the trade deadline. Let's see what we can do this year. And we might be able to still squeeze in. I mean, our divisions is not that strong. I think we the best team in our division, right? So all we got to do in our division, we still get that playoff berth, right? That's what we got to do, right? We still got a lot of winnable games left. We got one of the easiest schedule in the league. So if they ride with Ridder, I agree. Don't make any moves. Let's just stand pat. We have all that salary cap space going into the next season, right? Only problem is we got to figure out the quarterback position. So I agree. If we're not 100% sure on Desmond Ridder either way, play him. You have to find out, right? Now, the question is, if you stick with Dez and he continue to turn over the ball and you start to lose the team, because team don't like to lose because you're going to just ride it with a young guy and he continue to make mistakes, right? Desmond says all the right things. He doing the right things. He get in his playbook. He's trying his best, but the turnovers keep happening, man. It is what it is. That's my only knock I have on Desmond Ridder, the turnovers. That's my issue with him. So if he can fix that, that would be great. That would really be great. Not playing Ridder will stop his development process. I agree, man. I like that's what a reporter asked him today. If you do this, will that? There's no way you can go back to him, right? That's the question, right? He said not necessarily. Maybe he need to sit one game and watch, man. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know the right answer for this. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Because if I was 100% sure that Ridder was the guy, it'll be easy for me to say this, right? But those turnovers, it bothers me, man. Like, I don't know if you got how you guys feel when he goes back to pass. Are you like worried he gonna turn the ball over? That's the worry to a point is getting right now. Like, he about to turn the ball over. Like, that's my mindset. Like, and that's not a good thing. And if I'm thinking it, as a fan, I wonder if he's thinking it, right? Is he thinking like, oh shit, don't turn it over, don't turn it over. And then you hesitate and things like that. And you can't play like that. You got to come out and just sling that thing like Taylor was doing. Just sling it. Like, hey, if I turn this bitch over, I turn it over, right? That's what I'm gonna do, right? But see that, and that's why I don't know. Like, I'm not 100% sure on this because of those turnovers. It's just me. Like we lost games because of that. If we hadn't lost games because of turnovers, man, um, no, if I say it didn't really hurt us that bad, but I think we lost like 3 games because of turnovers. The Jacksonville game, the Commanders game. Um, oh, and we probably should have lost the Tampa game, right? We won that game. So you see what I mean? Um, I don't think the Detroit game. I think we just got manhandled that game. I don't think that had anything to do with turnovers, but we definitely two, right? The Commanders game, the Jacksonville game. Those because there's turnovers, right? He's been fortunate in the Tampa game. He was fortunate for that, right? The Texan game, he did not turn over the ball, but we had 2 fumbles in that game, all right? So turnovers is is really been bad for the Atlanta Falcons this year. Let's just say that, right? Three Dirty said, "Do you think the first half play calling was not the way that it has been all season?" I don't know about the play. Like I said, man, Dez was holding on to the ball, and Jeffrey Simmons was dominating that guy. It was bad the first half. Like I don't think we was able to get in any kind of rhythm that first half in that game. We really wasn't. We didn't get in any rhythm in that game. It was just um, well, for one reason, because we started like at the 12-yard line every freaking drive, right? And I can tell you this: most offensive coordinators, they call the game different when you that backed up in your red zone, right? Because you're just trying to get a first down. Now, where you can try to flip field position back. You're not necessarily trying to like put a good scoring drive together. You're just trying to at least try to flip the field position. So you call the game a little different. Maybe they probably need to change that philosophy a little bit, but play callers do. They just call a game different when they're backed up in their end zone. Because they trying to make sure they at least go forward, not backwards, right? Um, and try to get a couple of first downs at least. That's the key, right? If you get a couple of first downs, you backed up like that, you can flip the field position back at least and put your defense back out there, and try to get a better field position the next time. But so I don't know about the play calling in the first half. That's a good question. Uh, Dez is so lackadaisical with the ball. Exactly, man. Especially when he running with it, like they know he just hit his hand. It's gonna come out. Like I know he's not a running back, but damn, man, had like 5 fumbles. Like do something. It's ridiculous. I know you're going to the game, so how will the mood be in the biz if Ritter starts versus Heineke starting? So great question. And I already you already know how it's gonna play out, right? Ritter's gonna start if he starts. And the first mistake he makes, the boo birds coming out. We know this. We've been in the stands. We already know, right? The first mistake he makes, the boo birds are coming out, right? That's not a good thing. But he did to himself, though. It's not like the fans are hating, right? Like so, it's not like he played a great game and then all of a sudden he had a boo boo and they started booing. No, you got 12. You got the most turnovers in the NFL right now, right? The Atlanta Falcons quarterback has the most turnovers in the NFL, right? And if you look at it from a big picture standpoint, right? Like I said, we 4-4, the same record we had last season, right? How many turnovers we had last year at this point? Was it this many? I don't think so. So context matters, right? People's like, well, we're no better than we was last year. We had Marcus Mariota in a worse roster, but we had this many turnovers either. Our offense looked better last year. It did. I mean, just be honest, it looked better last year. So context matters, man. Like you can't just look at stuff and look at it like, oh well, we're better this year, got an easier schedule, whatever, man. Our offense looked better last year. We didn't have this many turnovers last year. Um, so all that matters. Dez got to play better. So if Dez come out and they decide to start him, he come out and if he even go 3-and-out in the first drive, the Boo Bears coming out. Just be honest. You know they are, because the last picture that the Atlanta Falcons had in their head is that how he played in the first half. He had a fumble that they scored a touchdown on, and then Taylor Heineke came out and offense was moving on 3 straight scoring drives. That's what everybody's going to talk about. So the reason is, why not start the guy that had offense looking a whole lot better the last time we seen him on the field? That's the questions. Oh yeah. Mario. I'm not saying Mario. I'm not giving Mario any props. He a quitter, man. No, I'm just saying. I'm just being honest. Um, Even with Marcus Mariota deficiencies, it still wasn't this bad. Really wasn't, man. It just wasn't. Right now, I'm not saying Desmond Ritter played. Be honest with you, if Desmond Ritter start turning over the ball, I think we could be really good. But he don't. That's the point. He does not stop turning over the ball. So um, that's the bad part about it. He does not stop. He's a turnover machine, man. That's what he does. So yep. So guys, that's where I'm at with it. It's gonna be interesting. Can't wait to Wednesday. Please come back and join me on Wednesday when I talk about the keys to victory for the Minnesota Vikings. It'll be interesting to see who will their quarterback be. Um, right now, they got some guys that have not played a lot of snaps in NFL on the roster. I did mention they are trying to, trade for Jameis Winston on the New Orleans Saints. That'll be interesting. They decide to get him. We'll see what happened with that. But come out with the keys. This is definitely a winnable game. Remember, they don't have a Justin Jefferson because he's on IR, right? They only got Edison. They got the pretty good running game, but the quarterback is out, right? We can't be the team, like the old Falcons, where we let these young quarterbacks, these no-name quarterbacks, come out, and this should be a game that Atlanta Falcons should dominate. I mean, it's just that simple. We'll see. I definitely get my keys. I'm going to be interested to see who the quarterback is going to be. If it's Jameis Winston, it'll be really interesting because to see how much he can absorb in that short period of time. Will he even play on Sunday, right? Because we'll see how much of the offense he can learn. But if that means if he plays, if they do decide to make a trade for him. But if not, they're going to go with a young guy that has not had a lot of playing time. Still a starting quarterback in the NFL, so you can't take him for granted. Um, they got a great defense as well over there in Minnesota, so it's going to be interesting to see how those guys play. But for us, Atlanta Falcons, Wednesday going to tell us all. We'll see who our um, starting quarterback is for the Minnesota game, because he did just say for Minnesota. He didn't say moving forward. Also, we'll see if they decide to make any trades by tomorrow's deadline. That'll be interesting as well. And guys, let me know what you think. Who's the quarterback going to be on Sunday? How the defensive line is going to fare without Big Grady in the middle? And what you guys think about Contavious Street joining the team? All right. That's all I have today. Thank all you guys for coming in, chatting with me. Um, Let me get my thoughts off the chest after the tough loss that Atlanta Falcons had yesterday and losing our heart and soul to the team, Grady Jarrett. This is your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. Peace.